Now, the coming session presentation by Mr. Tariq Al-Sharif talking about convert data to insight using connected analytics. يتفضل الأستاذ طارق الشريف ليحدثنا عن تحويل البيانات إلى معرفة باستخدام الخدمات التحليلية.
السلام عليكم جميعا. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm really pleased to be with you in this conference. I'll try to make it as interactive as possible, just to make sure that we understand every single piece of information here. So today I'll be talking about a very interesting topic, which is one of the most talked about topics in the IT industry, which is big data, virtualization, and analytics. So let me start my presentation with a question to you. So how many of you have heard about big data, analytics, virtualization? Can you please raise your hands? Great. So how many of you have already worked on big data or analytics or virtualization projects? No one has worked on any project related to virtualization or analytics? Good. So how many of you are planning to work on projects related to data virtualization and analytics? Okay, this is great. Thank you very much. So in my presentation today, I'll be covering 5 main topics. First, I will start with the business drivers and the challenges, why we talk a lot about big data analytics and virtualization nowadays. Then I will touch base on data virtualization and analytics, and we will see the difference between them and how they are related to each other. Once we are done with this topic, I think we'll be ready to move forward with the platform considerations. What considerations I need to keep in my mind while building my big data and analytics platform. We will share with you some solutions from Cisco, how we can help you implement your big data and analytics platform end to end. We will start with the major business drivers and the challenges for that. So why do people care a lot about big data, virtualization, and analytics nowadays? So if we look at this slide, we can see that the number of devices is being doubled almost every 5 years. So this means that we are adding new data sources every 5 years. Every single minute, new data sources are being added to our world, generating a lot of data. So what is the impact of that? Okay, so you have huge volumes of data being generated. They are coming from different sources, as we can see. So they are coming from the internet, from the cloud. They might be coming from IoT. You must have heard that so many organizations are digitizing their environment. Digitization means that you are adding new sources of data to your setup. So a huge amount of data, huge volumes of data being generated every minute. In addition to the volume and the exponential growth of your data, there are some other factors that you need to keep in your mind. The data being generated has different formats, different structures, and they are stored in different locations. From a business perspective, if I want to make use of this data, because this is a wealth of information for me, I need to make sure that I have easy access to this data, and the data is translated into information and knowledge. And I should have seamless access to all this data regardless of the physical location, regardless of the format, regardless of the structure. So I have business challenges, business objectives, which are very dynamic, and I want to leverage the data I have. If we manage to take advantage of the data, I will be much better in terms of productivity, performance, taking the right decision in a timely manner, planning for my future in terms of business plans. So we have 2 different types of organizations. An organization which makes use of the data, they know how to analyze the data, translate it into knowledge, then this affects the business decision-making process. And some other organizations don't make use of the data. So the first type of organizations will be always business leaders. And I will show you some facts from Gartner now, just to confirm this piece of information. How it looks like in reality. So an organization would have different types of sources coming from the standard databases, Teradata, Oracle. It could be coming from big data platform like Hadoop. It could be coming from cloud, because so many organizations use the public cloud now in their daily business practice. So we have different types of sources of data. At the higher layer, what I really care about is how can I make use of this data to have higher productivity, less OpEx, new revenue streams, more loyal customers. So these type of things are basically the business objectives of the organizations. Some important facts, I'd like you to read them with me. They are coming from Gartner and Harvard Business Review. So organizations which have the information management capability will always be able to achieve better financial performance by 20%. So if you have data and you are taking advantage of this data in making the right business decision in a timely manner, you will be much better in terms of financial results. Another piece of information coming from Harvard, and this was back in 2012. So organizations that have proper analytics capabilities, they will be always better than the others by 5% in terms of productivity, 6% in terms of profit. A third piece of information, which is extremely important, coming from Gartner, that by 2017, 90% of the data stored in different organizations will be huge in size, but they will be in silos. In silos means there is no relation between them. So I have the data, but it's scattered in different locations, and I'm not able to make use of them. So this will lead us to the solution. So what are you supposed to consider in order to overcome these challenges and be ready for your future business? Data virtualization and analytics. So what is the relation between them? We will see now that data virtualization is the enablement platform for you to implement analytics. So you cannot have data analytics unless you have data virtualization platform. So in simple words, what does data analytics mean? So data analytics means that you have different types of data, and you are able to analyze these data, the historical data, so that you can understand what exactly happened in the past, and you can predict what is going to happen in the future, and consequently, you can modify your business plans and make decisions accordingly. And we will see that there are 3 different types of analytics based on what I said. So the historical data can be made use of in order to understand what happened exactly, especially if you had a disaster or a problem. How can you avoid it in the future? What should be your future plan in order to achieve higher profitability or productivity, or achieve better results in terms of your business? So what about different categories of data analytics? So as I said, there are 3 different types of data analytics. If you are focusing on your historical data, we're talking about what we call descriptive data analytics. Descriptive means you work on the historical data, you analyze what happened exactly, and you relate things together. So you understand the result, and you link it to the reasons. Okay? This is called descriptive data analytics. And that's what you're supposed to start in your data analytics journey. So the second type of data analytics talks about predictive data analytics. Predictive means you want to predict the future based on the history, on the past. So you do a certain type of analysis based on the historical data, but in a different way. So your modeling here will be a little bit different. Your mathematical formulas will be a little bit different to understand what is going to happen in the future. You will predict here. The third type is based on the previous 2 types. So I know what happened in the past, and I can predict what is going to happen in the future. Now, what should I do in order to have a better future? So you need to get some sort of actions, and the prescriptive analysis will help you do that. So now let's move to the data virtualization. So based on our understanding of data analytics, we assume that we have data in a very easy format. We have easy access, and we can get a piece of information easily for me to affect my business decision or decision-making process. But with the challenge that we mentioned a few minutes ago, my data is scattered. So we have data stored in different locations. And each application is generating data in different formats, different structures. So data analytics needs a prerequisite. Before we implement the data analytics, we need to translate the data we have into a format that can be easily accessed can be easily understood by the data analytics. And this layer, which comes in the middle between the data, which is scattered in nature, and the data analytics layer is called data virtualization. The data virtualization will allow you access all types of data, regardless of the physical location, regardless of the format, regardless of the application generating them, regardless of the structure, and it will give you a single interface to all these types of data. So you have a single pane of glass, which will allow you have an easy access to all the types of data. So what is the importance of that? This will allow me implement my data analytics. So the takeaway message here that without data virtualization, you won't be able to implement data analytics. So let's have a look at this. This is an example of a data virtualization solution coming from Cisco. This is called Cisco Information Server. This is the main component. Whenever you implement your data virtualization solution, it's very important to have different components. The first component is the runtime component, which takes care of the analysis of the incoming data. And this is the one which will give you the easy access to all types of data, regardless of their physical location. And in addition to that, you need to manage the data. So you need to have management component. That's what we see on the right side. And on the left side, you need to have interfaces to the different types of data, and this happens or is available through what we call adapters. On the top, you need to have what we call business directory, which will give you a business view to the data. So basically, you don't need to see the data in the raw format. You need to have it in a different format, which will allow you to judge from a business perspective what you're supposed to do. So looking at the bottom layer, we have all types of data sources that we have mentioned before. So if we have a look here, we have different types of applications. We have relational databases. We have Excel files. So my data is in different formats, different locations, different applications. On the top, we need to have what we call business intelligence. We need to do data analytics. I need to provide information to my business decision makers so that they can plan for the future and understand what happened in the past. What is the layer that should come in the middle? This is the data virtualization layer that we have been discussing. I don't want to get into these details, but we provide an end-to-end solution. So basically, in addition to the product, you need services around that so that you can deploy, design, and plan before you deploy your solution. So we have services packages around that. We help you from the start of the journey till the end. So we work with you on the planning phase, on the assessment phase, and we do the design, we do the implementation, we do the migration with you, and we support you after that. Okay, so as a result of that, you will achieve certain business objectives that all the organizations are really interested in. So you will have easy access to the data. As a result of that, you will have higher impact in terms of productivity. So you can easily get the piece of information that you need through a single interface. One more thing, agility. So Cisco Information Server is one of the most, it has one of the most advanced query processing engines. So this will help you have very nice performance in getting the piece of information that you need. And last is basically cost-effective. So this is a cost-effective solution, and it reduces the cost by about 75%. So a lot of people ask us, so I want to build my analytics platform. What should I do? Where should I start? And we always advise our customers that there are some points that you need to keep in your mind before thinking of a platform. And we will see what are these points. 5 different factors that you need to consider while building your data analytics platform. First thing is basically performance. So you need to make sure that the performance of your platform will always meet your requirements. So I always remind the people that we have huge volume of data, and this data is growing exponentially. And you have new requirements in terms of business based on this data. So unless your setup is providing you with the needed performance, you won't be able to cope with the business requirements. Second factor you need to consider is management. So you might have the best platform, however, it is very difficult to manage. So you need to consider the easy management platform, how to manage this in a very easy way. deployment speed. And I always remember some network management systems, the enterprise management systems deployment cycle. We used to have very fancy enterprise management systems, but they used to take ages in the deployment phase. And that's why, although they are very powerful, people didn't make use of them or didn't take advantage of them. The same applies to the data analytics platforms or the virtualization platforms. You need to make sure that you can deploy the solution in a very short time to get the benefit out of that. Scalability, definitely, because your business requirements are increasing over time. Your applications and data sources, data generators are increasing over time. So you need to have a setup which can scale with you up to your requirements. And finally, the total cost of ownership. So you need to make sure that the TCO of your solution is reasonable and within your budget limits. These are the factors that you consider. So from a platform perspective, so how does a data analytics platform look like? So these are the building blocks of a data analytics platform. Let's start from the bottom layer. You have the infrastructure, and when we say the infrastructure, we mean compute, storage, and network. You need to have the infrastructure management component. So as a part of your big data and analytics platform, you need to have very scalable infrastructure and infrastructure management component attached to that. On top of that, you have the operating system. This is the second layer. This is normal. And then you have your applications. Applications like Hadoop or NoSQL or whatever it is. In addition to the application layer, or next to the application layer, you need to have application management. So this way, you can easily manage your applications. So we have two management layers, infrastructure management and application management. Once you have this solid platform, you can implement so many applications on top. So you can have data virtualization, you can have data analytics, you can do visualization, and so on. So these are the building blocks of any solid and scalable data analytics platform. So let's see what Cisco, or where Cisco can help in that. This is a very crowded slide. I don't really like it, but let's try to simplify it as much as I can. So I said in the platform components, you need to have infrastructure. So what infrastructure options do we provide at Cisco? We have different flavors of what we call convergent infrastructure or integrated infrastructure. We have what we call vPlug. We have FlexPod versus TAG. So what's the difference between different integrated infrastructure options? So basically, any infrastructure has three main components: compute, storage, and network. All these integrated infrastructure components are based on Cisco UCS and Cisco Nexus technologies. However, we have different flavors of the storage to meet our customers' requirements. So in one option, we have EMC storage. In another option, we have NetApp. In the third option, we have IBM storage. The good thing about the integrated infrastructures is that they are pre-designed and pre-configured. You just need to provide them with cables and power, and they will get up. UCS is a major component here, and we will talk sometime about that. UCS is basically Cisco compute product. So the compute component of the infrastructure is Cisco Unified Computing System, or UCS. So these are examples of the integrated infrastructures that I told you about. So two important pieces of information that I want you to read with me. Integrated infrastructure is now an industry standard. So it is not anymore that you go and buy storage, compute, and network from different vendors. So people tend to go for the integrated infrastructure. Why? Because they are pre-tested, pre-validated, pre-designed, pre-configured. Okay. Luckily, we are the leader in that, as per the different analysts. Third generation of big data solution is now a Cisco integrated infrastructure. So recently, we added the big data solution under the integrated infrastructure. So it is one package. So when we sell the big data analytics solution, we sell it as a part of the integrated infrastructure. We don't separate them. In terms of value, I think we have different packages based on your requirements. So if you want to build a development environment, we have a kit for that. If you want to build a testing and a validation environment, we have another kit for that. So we scale with you from very low scale up to the maximum requirements. This is how the platform looks like, or the solution looks like. Let's have a look at it for a minute. This is extremely important, just to build the overall understanding of it. So what do we have here? We have infrastructure, integrated infrastructure. On the bottom, we have infrastructure management. This is the second layer. Then you have UCS solutions, and you have the applications implemented on that. On top, you have the different data sources that you need to collect the information from. So this is the processing engines. These are the processing engines hosted on the infrastructure. And these are the ones that will provide you with the information. So the outcome or the output of this platform will be the input to the decision-making process in the business. These are examples of the unified management capabilities in the infrastructure provided by Cisco. So we have something called UCS Manager, UCS Director, and UCS Director Express. I want to take a few seconds on this product because this is a tool that provides you with an end-to-end deployment capability for big data and Hadoop on Cisco UCS. So this will provide you a very easy deployment capability for big data and Hadoop on our UCS integrated infrastructure. This slide shows you the capabilities that you can get out of the UCS Director Express. As I said, this is an end-to-end deployment tool for Hadoop. Something to highlight here, which is basically the end-to-end solutions. So in our conversations with the customers, most of the customers are very interested to have an end-to-end solution from one vendor. Why? Because basically they don't want to deal with different people. The platform is a solution for them. So they look at it as one package. And that's why Cisco managed to implement a very big global partner ecosystem with the biggest players in every area, starting from the data management, going through data integration and virtualization, all the way to the analytics and business intelligence. So we have partners with 3 different Hadoop distributors, for example. We have our own solution that I explained in the data virtualization area, and we have partners in the data analytics area. So we can provide the end-to-end solution, starting from the infrastructure all the way to the data analytics layer. So a common question that we always get in our discussions with the customer. Now I decided to go for data analytics. What should I do? But before that, I'd like to share with you some nice examples, real-life examples of data analytics. I will start with an example in service provider area. Now we are working on a project with a major service provider in the region. The problem or the challenge that they had, whenever there is a failure on their setup, they were not able to understand the impact on the customers or the services that they are providing to the customers and what customers are impacted. And they asked us to provide them with a solution that can analyze all the different data pieces and come back to them saying that if this fails, you will have this impact on this service, and these are the customers that will be impacted. So in this case, they will have the right visibility. They will be able to communicate with their customers in a more proactive way, and they will be able to fix things in a timely manner. Okay. Another example, in Cisco IT, we started our journey with data analytics about 3 years ago. We wanted to understand our customers' behavior based on different data sources. And one of the data sources that we use is our public website. So we tracked the buyer's behavior. As a result of this study, we identified 2,000 different opportunities. Out of the 2,000 opportunities, we managed to validate and confirm 50% of them. So 1,000 opportunity was generated based on this analysis, and they are called no-touch leads. No-touch means there was no salesperson in that. So these are examples of data analytics. In the public sector, I was thinking of the traffic management. So you can easily control your traffic signal system in an automated way. If you understand your traffic pattern all over the country, I mean, by collecting data over 24 hours, 7 days a week, you'll be able to understand how the traffic pattern changes over time. And you can easily control the traffic signals based on that. This is one of the examples. So we can give so many examples in this area, but I will stop here, and I'd like to explain this slide because this is extremely important. So customers ask us, what should I do if I want to start my data analytics journey? And we always say, please identify your use cases. What exactly you want to achieve? What is the main objective out of implementing data analytics? Because with this unidentified, you won't be able to move forward. So you need to spend the quality time identifying your use cases, what you want to achieve out of that. Then train your people. So unless your people are trained, they will not be able to contribute positively to this process. And your people are main pillars in any data analytics implementation. Third step, set up the infrastructure. So you need to make sure that you have the infrastructure which will allow you to meet your current and future business objectives. And we have already covered this part in details. Then bring data together. So you have your data scattered, disparate in terms of location, in terms of format, and then in terms of structure. You need to bring the data together. So you need to collect data from different locations, combine them, virtualize them. And that's what we explained as data virtualization. So data virtualization is a prerequisite. It is an enabler for you to move forward with the data analytics. Then descriptive analysis. You need to start with this. So you cannot jump to the predictive analysis unless you do a good job in the descriptive analysis. So you need to do the analysis based on the historical data. You understand what happened exactly in the past, what was the reason behind that, and you link the result to the reasons. Once you are done with the descriptive analytics, you need to do predictive analytics. Predictive means you will understand or you will predict something in the future. This is the last step, and you need to get help all the time whenever needed. So this is basically the life cycle of data analytics, the way we see it. Or these are the main phases, the main milestones in the data analytics journey for any customer. With this, I'm done. Thank you so much. And I think we will have questions later. Thank you.